One sec. What's the name of the second episode?
Forest of the Dead.
Forest of the Dead.
Fuck that. You know what Forest of the Dead was? You remember that part in Disney sing-along songs?
You stop it right now.
With the big spooky trees.
You stop it right now.
That have never been used for anything else. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Who Is My Doctor?
Who is my doctor?
Who is indeed. I am your host, Zach, and I know a lot about Doctor Who.
And I'm also your host, Cassie, and I do not know a lot about Doctor Who.
And woo! I'm so happy we're getting these episodes. These are...
Zach, did you know our house is haunted?
Woo!
There's some very excited ghosts in our living room. They're working on their phonics.
Yes, I'm so excited that we're getting into these two episodes. These, for the longest time, and I mean like I think 6 seasons of the show, these two are my favorite episodes of Doctor Who.
Okay.
And I'm sure that now that I've said that, you're going to hate them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how that works, Zach.
This is Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. And these two episodes are once again written by future showrunner Stephen Moffat, inventor of Are You My Mummy? And the French Robots and the Weeping Angels.
I don't think that he was the inventor of dead children or robots, but okay.
Well, he was the writer of those
Angels
episodes.
that move, though? Fuck. Hate that. Love it. Hate it.
Yes. So those are his episodes. And I think, you know, for the most part, The Empty Child and the Doctor Dances and Blink are certainly the strongest stories of their respective seasons. The Girl in the Fireplace, some people have a really strong fondness for it. We weren't too keen on it, but, you know, it's still not bad. There's still some interesting stuff in it.
Sorry. Aesthetically speaking, I did like the look of the robots.
Yeah, there was a horse loose in the TARDIS.
Yeah, it's elements like that I willfully forgot.
Well, technically that was just a bit that almost happened. But this is, I think, his best story that he wrote for David Tennant. And also, this is my favorite story in David Tennant's run.
Anything that you can say before we get into it as to why it's your favorite, or is this more of a we'll see?
Well, one, it's really, the tone of it is really strong. It also plays with some concepts that really kind of only work in Doctor Who. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but you'll find out about them as the episode goes on. And so it does a lot of interesting things emotionally. There's a lot of high sci-fi concepts that we're going to probably really enjoy. And it's also just an interesting setting. How many like stories in general can you think of that are set in a library?
I mean, you say that, but I've been rewatching Orange is the New Black, and surprisingly, a lot happens in the library.
I mean, how many science fiction stories can you think of that take place in a library?
So I'm a really big fan of Beauty and the Beast, and there's a lot that happens in that library.
That's not science fiction.
It's fiction.
Fantasy. Yeah, but not science fiction. I'm talking sci-fi.
Hey, I'm doing my own bit, motherfucker.
Watch me step on it. I'm going to step on that bit.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to step all over your episode.
Well, we can do that after we get to the Cassie Prefacie. So this episode's alien menace, because he's had a few iconic alien menaces as we've discussed so far. This one is a species called the Vashta Nerada.
Vashta Nerada?
Yes, the Vashta Nerada. And the Vashta Nerada appear as... I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. They appear as an element of...
Hate.
No, I'm trying to get what the... I don't feel like that's a good way of phrasing
An element of mischief.
They play as an element of lighting.
Surprise! Oh.
They appear as an element of lighting. Can you guess what kind of element, how they appear as this element of light? Element of lighting, maybe is a better way of phrasing it.
gonna put on my nerd goggles for a second. When you say elements of lighting, are you specifically referring to like theatrical lighting?
So I
like
mean,
in the same way that like elements in lighting might be like haze or harsh, like from above lighting. It's been a minute since I've been in school, but that kind of stuff, like lighting effects.
yeah, I would say it's a lighting effect, and it's a really simple one, just to give you an idea.
I want to say, in the spirit of me referring to the Doctor as Peter Pan a whole bunch, that this would be not unlike how they do Tinkerbell in some productions.
Okay.
Where it's just like either like, sometimes it is like a flashlight, sometimes it is a creative laser, but it's just like a little ball of light that, you know, bounces around the stage, but not literally, because it's a flashlight or a laser being held up in the sound booth from way up high, and it's a production assistant just going fucking crazy. Something like that. That's my answer. Okay, so I don't know if that's what you mean, though.
Okay, so you're saying it's like a spotlight effect.
Sure.
Okay.
Not necessarily, but
I'm trying to branch out a little bit just to get a feel for what you're talking about.
I don't know what else there would be then, because most of them are spotlight effects.
Well, you also had mentioned like haze as an alternative option.
Well, because that's not really lighting as much. That is the quality of light, or that is the light being affected by the haze. Otherwise, in a more practical sense, that's just fog.
Yeah, so I guess we could also...
So you're
just to give
kind
some other ideas that could be, we could talk about flares, like a lens flare. We could talk about particular colors of light. We could talk about...
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, we could talk about casting shadows. We could talk about flashing lights. We could talk about... So that would be like a strobe effect. We could talk about little balls of light, like you've seen in Aliens that are little balls of light, those sorts of things.
So now you've just given me choices, and I'm supposed to pick one at random.
If it helps, I will tell you, you're on the right track with Peter Pan.
Shadows?
Shadows?
Yeah, since that's also one of the ones that you listed.
Okay. All right, so Cassie believes the Vashta Nerada are shadows.
Yeah, sure.
Are sentient shadows.
Because that's also kind of scary, and... Moffat seems to like things that are kind of scary.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And we have not played with the dark in this capacity, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. And then the second part of the prophecy today is that this episode, actually this two-parter, introduces a character that will come back. Her name is River Song. And one of the things that makes her interesting in this episode is that she is in possession of an item that the Doctor is also in possession of. Would you like to guess what that could be?
It's either a TARDIS or some kind of sonic screwdriver. But that sonic screwdriver wouldn't be all that surprising, since that's the foster mom lady.
Oh, she had the sonic pen at the beginning of the season? Yeah.
And so that's not, like, shocking. Because the only other possessions the Doctor has is a yo-yo, a cool rock.
I mean, he's pulled a lot of things out of those pockets, especially this season.
So...
He's got his timey-wimey device from the last episode.
Yeah, I don't think River Song has a timey-wimey device.
Yeah, from the last Moffat episode, I should say.
I'm going to say TARDIS, because that would be... We haven't seen anybody else with a TARDIS.
That is true. We have not seen anyone else with a TARDIS. At least not in this series. All right. So, Cassie's prophecies today are that the Vashta Nerada are sentient shadows, and that River Song has her own TARDIS. We will find out together as we watch Silence in the Library.
That's the silence in the library.
That's the sound of silence in the library.
See, because that's ironic, because that's actually sound. Because no sound would be like...
We here at Who Is My Doctor recognize that this episode is very long. So out of respect for your time, today's sponsor is Very Fast. And we are back from ice cream.
Hey, Zach, who turned out the lights?
We are back from Silence in the Library. So what are you thinking so far, Cassie? How you feeling about it?
Donna Noble has left the library. Donna Noble has been saved.
I think my favorite response was the first time you saw one of those little faces, you went, no!
Fun fact, skeletons, very scary to me.
They are.
Like, there's something about, I recognize that I am one, and that thought really sends me into a tailspin, so I don't think about it anymore than this moment right now, and I have to immediately forget I said that, or else I will be unwell.
That you're just that inside you is a pile of bones that are being piloted by a meat mech.
No. A meat mech. Oh my God, an essential nervous system, literally. Yeah, a little bit frightening. However, from a design standpoint, very cool, very
right?
Very cosplay worthy.
Yeah, the Vashta.
Because that really truly is a very good way that I could go to a convention and be completely secure and safe from all contagions and pathogens, while also being a little bit scary.
And if the power ever goes out, then you can actually say,
"Hey, who turned out
the lights?"
But yeah, the shadows that melt the flesh. Okay.
There's a phrase for you.
Well, because
Put
I
that
was
in
like,
your high school yearbook.
I was like, there's a lot of wacky alien names. This one feels real, though, so I did look it up before they
I believe it's
announced
Latin.
it. Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, this one does not feel like letters rearranged into something.
So it doesn't feel like an anagram or a...
No, this one feels legitimate. And so I did do some digging beforehand.
And it's a good name. Like it feels alien, but it also feels really scary.
Vashta. I mean, most Italian, most Latin, which, fun fact, I get the two mixed up because my brain does flip them around and it is an
Your
anagram.
dyslexia gets in the way.
Well, Latin and Italian do have a lot of the same letters, albeit one has a couple more than the other, but irrespective. Yeah, dyslexia does get in the way, so I do get the two mixed up a lot. Even though Italian is just different Spanish, which is just different Latin, so.
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of it is like, especially for someone like you who grew up Catholic, there's something about Latin that feels very...
I took Latin for like 4 years.
Well, I also mean just like, in this particular case, for someone who grows up Catholic, Latin feels biblical.
Latin does feel very... It's unfair to say culty, because a lot of times, like in church, there are specific phrases that you repeat and chant in Latin. There is something very supernatural about that, just in its nature. And so especially something like Vashta Narada is it does sound like you're casting a spell or consecrating the body of Christ and then drinking his blood.
God, instead of crucifixion, they fed Jesus to the Vashta Narada.
They were there. But, I mean, the crucifix or the cross was up on a very tall hill and the sun was just prominent.
Speaking biblically, there's something very, visceral about the fact that the Vashta Narada are shadows. Because, whether or not you believe in God, there is that sort of initial comfort that the first thing God said was, "Let there be light." The first thing God tried to kill were the Vashta Nerada.
Yeah, it was the doctor saying like everybody has an irrational fear of the dark, but it's not an irrational fear.
As someone who actually is afraid of like I'm not afraid of like casual darkness, but when it gets like pitch black, can't see your hand in front of your face, I am genuinely afraid of that kind of the dark.
That is the only reason I will never ever go on Dinosaur ever again. Because that bitch got dark. And not just a little bit kind of theme parky dark. They somehow sucked more out of the light out of the room, probably to hide the number of, not working animatronics and it was lack of plants in some areas.
I will say that when I went as a teenager, so we're talking, 14 years ago, it was dark then too. Even when I was a teenager, I had to cover my face because it was so dark. It was horrifying.
I know that this is not a podcast about Dinosaur from Disney's Animal Kingdom, but that degree of dark.
This isn't just your ordinary darkness. This is advanced darkness.
In all sincerity, though, yes. So thank you for giving me my fear of the dark again. I was getting really brave, but now I'm not.
Well, as long as you don't go.
Although that being said, I do sleep with fairy lights on. Those do not turn off. And at this point now, it's gone to a point with those particular batteries in those fairy lights, that bitch should be dead. But those lights are still on, and I'm afraid to take them out. I think that they are eternal.
I mean, if you do ever get worried about the dark, you can always just carry around with you a cooked chicken leg and just toss that into the shadows. Yeah. And if a bone lands, then you know.
Yeah, the salad was just spring greens and then some chicken legs. Not like bits of grilled chicken. That would make sense. But just full-on chicken leg. Which I know, visually, chucking a chicken leg into the dark and having it enter frame full chicken and then second frame be bone is way more interesting than grilled bits of meat and then nothing.
Well, it's also a callback in a way to Miss Evangelista, who when we first find her after she found the Vashta Nerada, she is all bone.
Scary.
Right? They consumed all of the meat off of her bones in seconds. Less.
Oh.
And I like that the way they introduce them is by having someone say, count the shadows. Because there's probably been plenty of times where you've seen someone with more than one shadow just because of the way light hits them.
I don't like it.
He makes you. The Vashta Nerada simultaneously make you afraid of the dark, make you afraid of someone having two shadows, and make you afraid of dust mites in the window.
Yeah, well, because every time I see really awesome like beams of light, like in particular, one such moment. 'Twas I driving down the 405 freeway. Earlier that day, I had watched my grandmother pass away. Later that day, I was driving home, thinking about the events of the day, from starting very early in the morning, watching somebody pass from living to the land of the dead, and then getting on a plane and flying back home, to then sitting in traffic. I look up and there is the most biblical, is the only way I can describe, beams of light piercing through the clouds, me going, wow, what? I know that this just happens, especially since we live in California. Mm-hmm. Sky phenomena like that happens often. Mm-hmm. We get a wildfire and we have the most beautiful pink and orange sunset you've ever seen. Mm-hmm. But in that moment I went, ah, golly, that must be my grandma. It has to be. And now I'm going, fuck, it was shadow monsters.
Yeah, the dust and sunbeams, he calls them.
It's scary.
And another way they set them up is when the doctor says there's only two humanoid life, but when he ups it to any form of life,
it's 4 million.
No, it's a million. It's a trillion. I don't know why he calls it a million because it's a trillion. But I was like, doctor, just say a trillion like a normal person. But yeah, and that's where the that's where the computer caps. Like, the computers can't count past 1 trillion life forms.
Well, and then me and Donna have the same thought of, are the books sentient? And then I had the thought of, are we about to have a Doctor Who Page Master episode?
He's possessed. He's insane. He's my kind of guy.
There you go. All I remember from the Page Master is the like particular way in which Macaulay Culkin says hello, which is also, it's just not unique to that movie. It's the Macaulay Culkin being a little boy saying hello, much like David Tennant being as British as he can saying hello.
Yeah, he first says that to the little girl who, when she closes her eyes, sees the library.
My library. Somebody's in my library.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. When you first see her, she's just floating around in the sky.
Yeah.
And then she opens her eyes and closes them again, and she's floating around in other parts of the library. And she moves around by wishing, she says.
I wish I could move around by wishing.
I mean, you can in a way.
Yeah, I wish to be sitting in my car driving to the market.
And if you wish hard enough, your legs will take you there.
No, we don't want to go to the market. There's too many people there.
Yeah, she's being seen by a psychiatrist named Dr. Moon.
Dr. Moon, the foil to Mr. Lux.
You know, I hadn't put those together, actually.
Oh, really?
That Lux was light. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's I don't know why I never like thought of
Yeah, that was
him
like the
term.
first thing I thought of.
Yeah, neat. That's a neat touch. Yeah.
I am mad that her name is spelled River Song, like a song, not SAWNG, like I wrote it. Just for shits.
Nope, it is River Song, and she is part of the reason why this is my favorite my favorite episodes of Tennant's Run, because she is an intrinsically interesting character, because she has met the Doctor before, but the Doctor has not met her yet. Which is what so when I said in the first half that it deals with something that you can kind of really only do in Doctor Who.
Yeah. Somebody who knows an immortal being before they know.
So River Song will come back. And the basic premise of her as a character is her and the Doctor keep meeting each other out of order. So we'll see her according to how the Doctor meets her, obviously, because we follow the Doctor as a main character. But River Song will appear at different points, at different points in her life.
Is she also a time traveler?
She does say that she is a time traveler. That's why she, without spoiling too much of her story, that's why she has, when she says that "Shall we do diaries," is because they're trying to figure out where they're meeting each other in the other's timeline.
Oh, so I wasn't incorrect. She does have a TARDIS-ish thing.
She's got a journal that looks like a TARDIS.
Uh-huh.
But what she has is a sonic screwdriver.
I still think that counts for like a snack roll of a point.
I'll put it in the pile, and when you amass a whole point, I'll give you another point again.
So what's that worth? Like a tenth of a point?
I'm sure I'll do the math at some point.
Yay!
I gotta get the hot glue gun out and start putting more chunks of points together. But she specifically, what she has is
I get a point for being almost correct.
She has a sonic screwdriver. More specifically, she has the Doctor's sonic screwdriver.
A more advanced Doctor's version of the screwdriver.
Yeah, like there's been bits on it, so it's clearly like it's the Doctor's sonic screwdriver, but it's from the future where the Doctor has done more things to it. So I think that's a really interesting angle as well. But also that, she very clearly feels very strongly about the Doctor. She has a lot of affection for him. And so the fact that the Doctor does not recognize her, but she is coming with all of this emotional back. Can you imagine for a second if like someone you're very close to just like looked at you like they had no idea who you were?
Yes, it happens every time I restart Baldur's Gate 3.
But I mean, for real though. But I mean, for real, just imagine.
Zach, I need you to understand. It's real for me.
Imagine for just a minute, like you walked into your sister's house and she just like didn't know who you were.
Like I had to no, that's different because that's family ties. But like me trying to reintroduce myself to the likes of you.
Yeah. Like if I just looked at you one day and I just see you, I looked at you like you were a stranger.
Oh, do you know what that's called, Zach? Fucking dementia. All right.
Right. But also imagine that it's like me at this age. Like, so that's another aspect to it.
Early onset dementia.
That's another aspect to it.
It happens.
She says that she can see how young the Doctor is compared to how she knows the Doctor just by looking at him. Mm-hmm. By looking into his eyes. Because, obviously this is the end of Tennant's run, so you know that, the Doctors that she sees are not just Tennant. Mm-hmm. She sees future Doctors as well. But there's a lot of, like, fun little just bits and one-offs from her, like when she... like she says that she's the one who called the Doctor on the psychic paper, and at the end of her note was an X, and so Donna's the one who's like, called for help with a kiss. Or when she first sees the Doctor, she goes, "Hello, sweetie." But then later on,
I thought that was just her being chummy.
Yeah, I mean, she is kind of being chubby with it, but then because there's also that she calls him pretty boy.
I'm pretty boy.
Oh, I'm pretty.
Pretty?
I'm pretty. And Donna goes, "Yeah, you're pretty boy." Said that a little fast, didn't I? They're so... Like, Stephen Moffat was on his game when he was writing these characters. They're written so well, and the dynamic works so smoothly. Mm-hmm. Like some aspects of it work forever. Like, that's the part that's amazing about this episode. Is, like I said, River Song comes back because we're going to continue meeting her out of order. But her personality somehow still feels cohesive the entire time.
Admittedly, I did miss a little bit of this episode, but only because I was really trying to get something correct. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Donna says, "What's in the shadows?" I then had to respond with, "That's beyond our borders. You must never go there, Simba."
What about that shadowy place? What the fuck did I just say, Simba?
That is beyond our borders. We must never go there, Donna.
River also explains ghosting to the Doctor and Donna. Well,
data ghosting.
Yeah, the data ghost, not being ghosted. This little neural link that happens from their communicator, that sometimes a lingering artifact of their consciousness lives in the communicator after they die. And so this is one of it's heartbreaking having to sit through that.
It's one of those things that doesn't feel too far off,
Yeah,
it's one of those.
It's a simple idea that's easy to explain and understand.
Well, it's the same idea as since the invention of Facebook and social media presence, people that have died, mm-hmm. there is still a little part of them present on the internet.
Yeah,
on this massive thing we can't really even conceptualize without going insane a little bit. And so it feels in the same wheelhouse as that is. Here is a little lingering piece of this person's consciousness that is living on. In this case, it's moments, but
yeah, it's brain waves.
Yeah,
the brain waves linger on the communicator, and
which is also I did really enjoy though the fact that Evangelista's brain waves were conscious and mm-hmm. cognizant for way longer than proper Dave, and she was the dummy.
So the thing is also that Evangelista was being spoken to. Proper Dave has not. Proper Dave, it basically is almost being kept in purgatory. No one is there to help.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Yeah, Miss Evangelista had to be helped by Donna because, and it was so, I think it's perfectly laid out too, where they established that Miss Evangelista is kind of dumb. They specifically say that she mistook the escape pod for the bathroom twice. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "They think I'm stupid because I'm pretty." And I'm like, that's not why they think you're stupid. They think you're stupid because you're stupid.
No, she's just, her intelligence score is a little low.
Yeah. She has her,
she got a job working as a personal everything.
Yeah, she's a...
Do you know how hard it's been for me to get a job working as anybody's personal anything? And she doesn't seem to like Mr. Lux very much, so it's not like a nepotism thing.
Well, Mr. Lux doesn't seem to like her very much.
Yeah.
Because when that door opens where she's like, I think this is important, Mr. Lux is like, not now. He seems also kind of annoyed by her.
Yeah, granted, he seems kind of annoyed by everyone.
Yeah, he's doing it. There's a little bit
he's
of the...
doing a rich man exploring. It did strike particular Ocean Gate chords.
In a sense, if the people doing Ocean Gate also happen to own the Titanic, yes.
Well, but that same idea of just like we're here explore everything that happens here is my personal intellectual property. No. Why do you need to own the experience?
You need to own an experience, yeah.
And then also when the doctor is asking him a question of like, what happened here 100 years ago? You didn't sign your papers.
I do like that the doctor and Donna take the contracts and basically rip them in unison.
I like learning that River Song also didn't sign hers.
Yeah, because the doctor's rubbing off on her. That's another thing that I really enjoy. I enjoy that the way it's written is River Song keeps forgetting that this doctor does not know her. She keeps talking to him like they're best friends. Mm-hmm. But then, like, the part that breaks my heart is when Miss Evangelista is ghosting, and she starts going, "Is that woman there? The nice woman?" Like, I want you to think for a moment if, like, someone is dying, and they ask for you to help them, and their only request is, please keep my secret that I'm stupid. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like I put myself in and huge credit to Catherine Tate. She is playing that perfectly.
Because it's also heartbreaking learning that to Evangelista, Donna's the nice woman. Not just the woman.
Yeah.
That she doesn't know the name to. The nice woman, which means that everybody else in that expedition was not nice to her.
Or at least, because it's
very possible that River Song was being in charge and being, archaeologist captain, mm-hmm. and was, pleasant towards her, but did not talk to her in the way that would mark her as nice.
Yeah.
We can surmise just based off of everybody else's reactions towards Evangelista that nobody else was particularly kind or nice to her.
Yeah.
And Donna might have been the first person who was.
Yeah. And then as she starts fading away, she just can only repeat ice cream. Ice cream.
Which this is the one time I'm kind of upset that we had subtitles on, because our subtitles were saying ice cream. But that's one of those words that could be I scream.
Because she did scream. That, in fact, I think it is. I think that's sort of the play on it. I think it's meant to be sort of a play on words.
Well, yeah. If you don't have your subtitles on, it is viewer's choice.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, you could say that's it. She's saying ice cream, but thinking I scream because that was the last thought she had. But her brainwaves are fading away.
Yeah, her brainwaves are getting a little. Yeah. Muddled up.
But yes, she's not the only one who passes away from the Vashta Nerada. Proper Dave, as we learned, because there are two Daves.
Mm-hmm. Proper Dave is the pilot.
He's the pilot. Yes, there is other Dave who gets talked to first, and then does the whole rigmarole of, "Oh, I'm other Dave. That's Proper Dave. He was here first."
That's so funny.
It's an authentic thing too. Like, I'm sure you knew people in high school where if they share the same first name.
I'm dealing with that right now, dude, because hi, my name is Cassie. We just hired somebody whose name is Cass, spelled C-A-S. So I refer to myself at work as Cass, just because it is way less juvenile than Cassie and more like casual than Cassandra. I'm not going to refer to myself as my full government name. However, then when I write my name on stuff, I have to clarify that I mean me, Cass, not the other one. And even Andrea in her notes had to write like notes for Cass. The the new one, not the OG.
Well, he also, like, I was close friends with another guy named Zach when I was in high school, and so he was Big Zach and I was Little Zach. Or you, like, a lot of people one of them will go by their last names.
I mean, in college, there was me, Cassandra, and then there was another Cassandra that we just put a soft W in, so she was Cassandra.
Yeah, so that's one of those, like, it's a very real thing to have proper Dave and other Dave.
By the time that I graduated, there were 3 of us, so I was Cassie, she was Cassandra, and then there was Cass Squared, or Cass Cubed, sorry.
Yes, but proper Dave starts having 2 shadows.
Fuck that.
Which the there's a very another way I really like how the Doctor is written in this episode. This very, like, he's smarter than everyone else, but not, like, one step ahead of everyone else, if that makes sense.
He's smarter and cognizant of what is happening.
Yes.
And is trying to get one step ahead, but cannot because he is dealing with something that is not...
You can't be reasoned with.
No.
It's a swarm.
The only thing you can... Or he even says, fuck, I'm forgetting exactly what the line is, but for the one you can punch him in the back.
Oh, yeah, the Daleks, you aim for the eye stalk. With Santarans, you hit him in the back of the neck. But with Vashta Nerada, you just run.
You run. It's scary.
Yeah, I mean, because if you assume that they can eat, flesh off bone in seconds, less than seconds.
He even says that on Earth, it's just disguised as roadkill. Some people never return. As a true crime junkie, that's fucking scary.
Some people never come out of the dark.
That's fucking scary.
Or never come back from the dark.
To think that I mean, I know that this is all fiction, but because I have what I like to dub an overactive imagination, I'm now thinking of all of the cold cases of people that just kind of went missing. Odds are they walked into the woods and just...
Met the Vashta Nerada.
Yeah, like got lost in the woods, were not prepared, slipped down a hill, rolled their ankle, got eaten by a bear. That's usually what happens when people go missing like that. Mm-hmm. But now I have the new theory of, when the nightfall rolled in, they got shaded by a giant tree, and then in minutes were disintegrated into bone and nothing.
By tiny little piranha insects.
Yeah, by air piranhas. Ew.
Yeah, proper Dave has 2 shadows, and so the way that they get around them is by upping the mesh strength on their suits up 400%. The Doctor pushes it then another 800%.
No, River pushes at 800.
No, the Doctor pushes it River pushes at 400. The Doctor then pushes at 8 with his sonic screwdriver. And
I'm sorry, I stand corrected.
And then proper Dave gets eaten inside his suit.
After he announces, "Hey, who turned out the lights?"
And he turns around and his mask has gone dark.
Oh my god. They're not trapped inside with him. He's trapped inside with them.
He's not trapped inside with them. He's dead. Yeah, as you can see by when he lurches forward just a little bit and his skull plants into the front of the mask. Which... That's the one weak point to me for this episode, is that is not a good skull.
No, but that's also because skulls are... Unless you are a Dave Jones, it is very hard to make humans look skinny and
it's
gaunt.
Before CG really had, like, a good, strong holding on the show.
That is a skull mask on a person.
That's a Spirit Halloween mask that they stuck inside a really nice astronaut suit.
I give it credence of saying, like, all right, yes, practically that is an actor wearing this skull mask inside of and still operating the suit. That's the only way that you could do that, because these aliens are not real. This skeleton is not being piloted by air piranhas. I do feel like there was another way that you could have done it, in the having a plate or something, and then having like a skeleton be on the outside, or half of a skeleton be on the outside of the plate, and then having the actor be behind the plate, so that way you have the light that's illuminating, but then you wouldn't get the light that wraps around the entire helmet. It would get stopped by the plate. There's ways now that you could do it. I'm sure that, get an Imagineer on it. They're on it, but I also think that it doesn't matter. The point gets across.
And
This is good notes for me to take for if I do decide to make my own spaceman cosplay, because boy, oh boy, do I
your own
love...
proper Dave.
Yeah, just because I do love the idea of going back to conventions wearing something that completely conceals and hides me to protect me from the sick.
And it's really fascinating to see someone who found a way to make the phrase, "Hey, who turned off the lights?" scary.
Yeah.
Like, you know that he's coming and the Vashta Nerada are coming when you hear that phrase. Mm-hmm. Just before Proper Dave gets eaten, the Doctor sends Donna to the TARDIS with a really fun, Donna, let me explain. Flips the switch before he...
And then she fully disappears, though, out of the TARDIS.
Yeah, she gets into the TARDIS and then she seems to glitch and go somewhere. Or as we find out, Donna Noble has been saved. Donna Noble has left the library. And now her face is on one of the little library terminals.
I hate that.
Because it was chosen as a face the Doctor wanted to see. Yeah. So I think we've chewed through this first episode as much as we can without, like, really overbearing it. Typically, I like for us to talk about both episodes of a two-parter in the second half, or at the end.
Yeah, this is your favorite, though. I don't... It feels wrong to...
Yeah, there was no part of... I wanted to really comb through all the stuff I like, because there's so much I like about this episode. And there's a lot I like about the second episode. But before we can get to that, we have to get to the second Cassie Rafassi today.
55 out of 98.
Oh, wait, that means these two here are your 100th Cassie Rafassis. Yeah, so...
Hear ye, hear ye. That means 50 episodes then, huh? No, not quite.
50 episodes of the show.
Okay.
Not 50 episodes for us, because there's been at least one two-parter every season. So this is our 43rd episode of the podcast, but I think this is our 50th episode of the show that we've watched, including our two visits to... Well, I guess we're also talking to... There's also, the two classic serials that we revisited that were 6 and 4 episodes each.
Irrespective, this is the 100th episode of Doctor Who that I have watched.
This is your...
Oh, stop being pragmatic.
Yeah, well...
we'll say 100, woohoo!
Yeah, well, either way...
Hooray, the 100th one is your favorite! Moving on!
That is kind of fun. I hadn't done the math on that until just now. That's neat. All right, so for the 100th Cassie Rafassi... Well, this is the 99th, and we'll get to that.
Shut up!
So the first one here is... how do you think a million Vashta Nerada got into the library?
What?
Well, because, they say every planet has some, but they don't have a trillion Vashta Nerada. They're covering the entire planet. The entire library, which is the entire planet, has Vashta Nerada in it. So the question is, how did the Vashta Nerada get there?
I don't know. I'm still unclear as how the library is existing, because I thought it was in the mind of a little girl.
Well, no. So there was another thing we sort of skipped over, is Dr. Moon tells her that the real world, as she knows, is a lie, and her world of nightmares, her library, is real.
I thought that was the Doctor speaking through Dr. Moon.
Nope, that was Dr. Moon.
What the fuck?
You will find out as we watch this episode.
I don't know, Zach. I don't know the answer to your crackpot question.
Well, how do you think...
I don't know how a million of anything gets anywhere, dude.
How do you think they would arrive in the library?
Zach, I need you to understand. I don't know how one cockroach has made it into our house and has not been caught yet. Because he made an appearance today. He just... And there was nobody that could... No, this was last night. There was nobody who could help me. Because he appeared and then ran off into the fucking shadow and disappeared as if he was a Vashta Nerada.
Well, do you...
I don't understand how things get anywhere.
Well, did someone bring them there?
I don't play enough Civ, Zach. I don't know how civilizations grow and expand, how people move, and I don't get it. I don't get it.
Okay. Do you want me to ask you a different question? Is that the?
I mean, unless you like me getting angry at you.
I do kind of like you getting angry at me. It's very funny.
Can you give me a hint?
I guess I could give you some ideas
Because
to
you
chew on.
also said, God said on the first day, let there be light, indicating that the Vashta Narada were already there.
Well, that was also me realizing as we were talking about the name Vashta Narada feeling biblical, and then them being shadow.
Yeah, but for all I know is that that's their home. They just really love the library. These Scary's air piranhas like to read.
I mean, that could be an option. You could say that the library is their home.
What were you going to say before I said that?
I was going to say you could say someone brought them there. There was some kind of freak accident. I'm just giving you just some ideas here.
I'm just going to say what I said. I think that this library is their home.
Okay. So the library is the home of the Vashta Narada. And for the 100th Cassie Profassi, this question just kind of feels appropriate for that. The way River Song gets the Doctor to trust her is by whispering a secret to him. Mm-hmm. And we find out what that secret is at the end of the episode. Mm-hmm. What do you think the secret that she whispers in his ear is?
Oh, no. Zach.
So
I'm going to say
the
something
100th Cassie
dumb.
Profassi is you have to figure out the Doctor's secrets.
The Doctor's secret is that he's not wearing underpants.
Is
the
that
Doctor's secret.
He's the one who farted, but someone else smelt it, so he's being blamed for dealing it.
River's secret has something to do with Rose, because we haven't seen her in a minute.
It's not River's secret, it's the Doctor's secret. River knows the Doctor's secret.
Oh my god, what? Stop it.
What was that?
I don't know.
I think it was something falling in the sink.
No, it wasn't something falling. It was expansion of air. Science says that it was an expansion of air, and that it was most likely the wine stop that Haley had put in a bottle of wine. Supernatural answer is that there's a ghost.
There's Vashta Narada in the wine.
No!
Some drunk bugs. Hey, everybody, we're here to eat the flesh off your bones.
You hear a hiccup and a piece of chicken flies out.
And just, like, it's not even finished chicken. Like, they couldn't even get through all of it.
No, it's just like a piece of rotisserie chicken from Costco.
Hey, everybody. Here to eat you. Get in my mouth.
Ang, ang, ang.
And you got a spacesuit I can walk around in?
Hey, turn on the lights. Just kidding. It's me. Fuck. I don't know what the Doctor's secret. I'm your secret. I'm the Doctor. I've got a secret. He's got it. Oh, baby, he's got it. River knows it. What the fuck is the Doctor's secret?
Yes, River Song knows a secret of the Doctor's and whispers it in his ear.
Is it of the Doctor's?
Yeah.
Does it have to do with Time Lord being?
It has to do. It is a secret. It is a secret of the Doctor. So when I say doctors, I mean DOCTOR''S. It is his. The secret is his.
He's got it.
The secret is that he's got it. It's the Krabby Patty secret formula. It's the password to get into Club 33.
I thought you were going to say it's the password to get into Club Penguin.
The secret is the only curse word allowed to be said on Club Penguin.
Which is...
burp.
That's not a curse word, though.
I mean, not in our language.
I don't know, Zach. Like, specific to this, like, to Tenet Doctor? Or this...
To the Doctor, to all Doctors.
Okay. To the Doctor, not to Time Lords, a.k.a. this Time Lord that we happen to know.
It's not a secret of the Time Lords, but it's a secret of the Doctor.
So it reasonably could be that he is a Time Lord.
It could be that he's a Time Lord.
But that's also not really a secret. He just kind of tells everybody that.
Only some people, but only a few people believe him.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what my secrets are, dude. Do you know whose secret I super don't know? The damn cockroach. His little secret is how he keeps on getting inside the damn house.
What would be an appropriate secret for the 100th Cassie Profassi?
That the doctor isn't wearing underpants. I know that's not it. That's not my answer, but it's certainly silly enough. That it would have to be something that is, like, personal to the doctor.
It would.
But I can't think of anything other than that fucking Jenny is somewhere out in the cosmos.
Jenny! I'm the doctor, Jenny. I'm a run after you with my magic shoes.
Hello. Fuck. That the doctor's secretly Scottish?
Like he's not from Gallifrey at all. He's just from Scotland.
That's a David Tennant joke.
So we know that he's 900 years old.
Yes.
We know that he goes by the Doctor.
Yes.
We know that he's a Time Lord.
Oh my god, his name! Oh my god, she says his name! Because the Doctor is the name that he chose for himself. That's not his actual name. She tells him his name.
All right, so Cassie's guesses so the Cassie Profassi today.
So we learned the Doctor's name.
Is that is that the Vashta Narada's home is here in the library, and that River Song knows the Doctor's name. We will find out together as we watch Forest of the Dead.
I know I'm right.
And we are back from Forest of the Dead. Well, I'm crying.
If only my stutter wasn't stuttering, then I could call out for you.
Like, if she just wandered the whole time. There was no one here. There was no one here named Lee that day at all. I suppose he could have been called something else, like, and they're in the same room. They're like 10 feet away from one another.
Hey.
I like how that's the part that you get hung up on, and I'm sitting here just like, oh, we just watched, like, the end of a companion's journey from the beginning.
It's only because every so often I'm like, wow, this show really is good. And then it hits you with some dumb little zinger like that where you go, God damn it, that's dumb. He couldn't call out for Donna, the person that he built a life with, because of
very quickly. He built a life with very quickly. Because
of a stutter. That's stupid.
So this is my favorite of Tennant's stories. This is, I think it's also one of Stephen Moffat's best scripts he's ever written. I think
but also points to me. I got both things right.
You did get both things right. This is the Vashta Narada were born in this library.
Which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that
in a little bit. The River Song does know the Doctor's name.
River Song knows the Doctor's name. We still do not.
Yeah, we don't. We never will.
What?
So what I have heard is that Stephen Moffat knows the Doctor's quote-unquote name, by which I mean he knows what he told Alex Kingston to whisper into David Tennant's ear. So those three know what the Doctor's name is, but it's more a plot device than it is a real thing. It doesn't. I mean, I can't imagine there being any way they like. And his name is
Marty.
And his name is President Barack Obama? Like, it's not, there's not really a thing that's going to make it suddenly recontextualize several decades of TV.
Montalban Montague. That's our cat's name, just for context.
Let's just, let me get your thoughts. How did you think about the episode?
I told you what I thought about the episode. It really had me until that little zinger about, oh no, Lee can't call for Donna because of his speech impediment.
Which, I mean, there's a part of it where I kind of appreciate it because there is just a little bit of like, and you're okay now. Like, it sort of lets you go. I think it's nice that they have that little bit of let go, because this show airs later, like in the evening in the UK. Mm-hmm. So there's a part of it where it's like you kind of need it to let go a little bit so you can go to bed.
I mean, I guess.
So I mean, that obviously is an era from, that's a relic of pre-streaming era Doctor Who.
Yeah.
When it was, just on the BBC, and that, I mean, it went to BBC America, streamed online then, but it was the collective first viewing was the night of premiere. So there's a part of it where it's, you know, it's nice to let them go.
Well, that also gives us the, not closure necessarily, but it's the like, oh no, tragic, like just missed each other.
I mean, it also is just as like, it is funny that that Donna's dream person is someone that she finds very attractive, but also cannot speak. Mm-hmm. Can't imagine, you know what that's like.
Nope. I was just going to say lots of healthy relationships function that way.
With you wishing that, I mean, with somebody wishing the other would be quieter and let them speak more. Can't imagine who. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and ask you to tell me if this is your favorite, because we also just watched it, so that would feel a little tacky. But it did seem like you were enjoying it as we were watching it, which feels nice.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, absolutely, 100%, favorite episode, favorite story. I see why you like it, because of something I noticed, that you were crying quite a bit.
Well, I mean, I've said it before.
You are a squishy little man.
I had said at the top of this section that I am crying. This is an episode that also gets better with age.
Okay.
Because, like I said, River Song comes back. So we get more of her story, and this episode becomes better and better with context. But it's also really strong on its own.
Well, because we meet her... Our beginning relationship with River is her end.
Yes.
So that's kind of cool and timey-wimey, and you're right. That is something that you can only really do in a show that involves any amount of time travel.
And specifically a character that's doing a lot of time travel.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, a lot of River's story is told out of order. Like, the next time we meet her also isn't the first time that she meets the Doctor. Mm-hmm. So she'll weave in and out of the story. And there's when we finish River's story, there's a little special that stitches her story back in order. That we'll probably watch just for you to like get the full scope of it again.
Okay. But I do like that element quite a bit, because that's not something that you can get from a How I Met Your Mother or just a regular sitcom type.
You can't even get that all from like sci-fi. Like Star Wars couldn't have a character like that.
No, but it is almost exclusive to time travel. So, I haven't seen any of Outlander, or Kindred is another one that involves time travel, but not in a way where the host, for lack of a better term, is like Kindred is a very good example of one where it's a woman that has a strong emotional tie to, or I'll recontextualize it. The series places her in like the mid to late 2000s. Mm-hmm. And she has a tie to a child during the 1700s, which is only important in the fact that she is a black woman and she is tied to a white child. Mm. And so the book specifically unpacks like her reason, or like the reason why like she is bound to this child, and it's so she can, jump back in time and save him from drowning and save him from, killing himself, and because he is important to her. Mm-hmm. But in that context, even that time is linear.
Yeah.
Because every time that she goes back to this time and place, it is still in the lifespan of this child, but it is not like, it's not like, oh, well, she meets him when he's an adult, and then the second time he's a child. Mm-hmm. I think only a show like this can you do something where you are meeting a character at the end, in the middle, in the beginning, somewhere in the middle again.
Yeah, it's really, and especially because, she'll have a different dynamic with different doctors, because she doesn't just meet this one and the next one, she also meets Capaldi. There's a different, like, rhythm that they all have together, but it all still feels cohesive. It's very nice. I don't want to, but as she says, spoilers. Mm-hmm.
Why do you have handcuffs? Spoilers.
That's the other thing is River's written really well. Mm-hmm. Like, there are parts of her where it feels a little fetishy later on, because she's very, like, she's a badass woman to the point of it feeling like, you kind of want some step on me, mommy energy. But at the same time, though, they make a really interesting character out of it.
It's nice to have somebody who is smarter than the Doctor in the room.
Or at least as smart. Some of the Doctor cannot outsmart.
/ is somebody that the Doctor doesn't understand.
Yeah. I think
he understands that he should understand her, but he simply doesn't at this point in time. His time.
That might be a really good way of putting it. It's not that she is smarter than him, but she can outsmart him.
Which is not something that a lot of people can do.
Because she has the one kind of information the Doctor never can, and that is his personal future. Mm-hmm. And one really nice thing about River is that because she gets told out of order, she's another companion that can kind of show up with any Doctor. Mm-hmm. Even when we do kind of get to what is at the moment her last story, there are plenty of opportunities for her to show up with Ncuti or any Doctor that comes after, as long as Alex Kingston's alive. Because the only rule we have now is that River Song's last appearance is as Alex Kingston, so she can never really change actresses.
No. And especially if we already meet her as I suppose you could have the Doctor meet like a child version.
Yeah.
But that's going way back in her time.
Yeah. So
then trying to bob and weave.
I know Alex Kingston very specifically wanted to do something with Jodie Whittaker. Because she was like, I haven't gotten to do this with a female Doctor yet. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give too much spoilers into like what their dynamic is, because you've seen a little glimpse of it here, but you don't get to see it develop. But there's a part of it where Jodie's like, where Alex was like, I want to do this with Jodie, because I haven't got to do this with a woman yet. And so that would be a fun, but they never really got to do it, unfortunately. But I'm sure Big Finish will want to, because they want to do everything that the show doesn't do. Maybe we should talk a little bit about the story of the episode itself, because I remember at the very beginning, Donna gets seen by Dr. Moon, and I think you audibly went, "What?" Which is, now it makes perfect sense.
I said it before, Dr. Moon has some Slugworth energy.
Yeah, he definitely has this, like, if, like, one of your friends has a really dark secret.
It's the, I know something you don't know.
I know where the bodies are.
Yeah, it's Charlie Day in that one episode of It's Always Sunny.
I'm not sure I know which one you're talking about.
That's where my, like, sing-songy, because he has, like, he has some, like, gossip.
Gotcha.
And so it's them walking into the office, and he, like, turns the light on, and it's just him being lit from below with a desk lamp saying, I know something you don't know. Yeah.
And so Donna is wandering around this weird world that,
which for us makes perfect sense, because it just keeps cutting to the next scene.
Yeah.
Which we're watching TV. That's how TV works.
Yeah.
But then it's the second that she goes, wait, how did I get here so fast?
And it's so clever to use the film language too, because it does a lot of the same things where someone would do, where they say, like, let's go down by the river, and they're cut to them by the river feeding ducks, or I'm just tired, and she's going to bed. But one thing that's really nice,
I really wish that would happen in real life.
One thing that's really clever, specifically from the director's part of this, the cuts get less elegant as it goes on. Mm-hmm. Specifically that one where she's like, I guess I'm just tired. It's a jump cut where she's still in the same position on camera, but it's the wrong angle. Mm-hmm. So it's I'm getting into like film language here.
No, please.
So it's an uncomfortable cut, because it's not clean like it was deliberately designed. It feels wrong to your brain, because you're like, she's in the same place, but not quite. It doesn't feel like a change in scenery. It feels like something went wrong. And
something about that too is the room itself is red. Mm-hmm. Which most bedrooms are not painted red. Red is not a comforting color. It's rather unsettling. So you don't have lots of red walls in places unless you're perhaps in a kitchen. Red is very often in more like communal spaces, not really intimate spaces. But at that time as well, when they're in the library, there is nothing but red light.
Yeah.
Because then another fun thing about red light, particularly when you're working in photography, is red light is not bright. It's not as harsh. So especially if you're developing film, red is the most common color used in dark rooms because you can still see, but film does not see. And so I like the use of the red lighting in the context of the library as this is light that is not casting any kind of shadow. This is ambient, unsettling, uncomfortable light. Cut to Donna in her bedroom being surrounded by these like 4 red walls in the uncomfortable, unsettling cut where we as the audience then know like things are very wrong.
Yeah.
Things are very not right and extremely wrong.
And then the next day, Donna found a letter that told her to go to the park. So she took her kids to the park. And she goes...
Her 2 children, only 2 children.
And the girl that she meets is sitting there in just like a funeral garb. Like a black veil, black dress, long dark lace gloves. Like she is decked out for a very nice funeral.
She's decked out for a very nice Bats Day at Disneyland.
Donna Noble, I am just here to feed the birds. And she starts throwing breadcrumbs out.
It's crows.
She
starts throwing cat
she
food
points
and
out that
mealworms out.
You did not get my note last night. You received it only seconds ago. And then you were here when you had made the decision to come here. And you're like, can you imagine like that? You had joked that it was like Click at one point because the girl with the remote.
Yeah.
But that's where it really feels like it, where she's just like cutting to the next scene.
Cal. I knew it was going to be something stupid.
And then she points out that while her children are the same as all the other children in the playground, Donna just wasn't allowed to notice it. And you had said that you would clock something weird. I'm curious at what point you had started clocking that something was weird with the kids.
Here's the thing. I had noticed that all of the kids were wearing the same pink and green jacket. But I just thought that it was those 2 kids being very fast.
Or like the scriptie wasn't paying attention to where the kids were.
Yeah, so I was like, that's odd that these children are showing up in in the background and everything, but maybe that's just to add to the this is not right feeling because these kids are fucking everywhere.
Yeah, they do you could sort of clock it at the very beginning, so when the kids are first walking through the park, like with Donna, there's a kid that runs by that is in the same green jacket as the son. That's the first time you see, and it's like immediate you catch.
Because my only other explanation for when you were like, oh, did you clock it? I remembered the kids making like little clay puppets. They were like, look, it's you, mommy. They're like, she doesn't have a face.
Where's the face? I don't know.
Yeah, I was...
We know where it is.
In that moment, convinced myself that all the children didn't have faces. But so that's what I was like looking for. And so I was paying more attention to the faces on all the children.
Those children don't have anything.
Yeah. Those children don't have a corporeal form.
Right. And then the girl in the park, her veil gets ripped off, and we see what happened to the remains of Miss Evangelista. And it's like Mr. Potato Head said, hey, look, I'm Picasso.
She got a hold of a Snapchat filter from the future.
Yeah, one of her eyes are melting, and her mouth is a lot bigger, but slurped off to the side. Her chin is dangling. Like, I understand why they chose to cover that effect up. They did not want to put a lot of money in it.
Nope.
It's effective for what it is, and there's a part of it that makes you go, eh.
It's the same idea as the Spirit Halloween masks in the spacesuits. It gets the point across. It's just not very pretty and elegant.
Well, it's also kind of surprising when you think about how few visual effects are really in this.
I mean, a lot of it was more environmental
That's
effects.
what I mean. Like, there's not really that many computer... Like, the only real computer effect I can immediately think of is that one where the Doctor is diving down the hole, and so he's going through warp speed.
Yeah, I said that's wonderful footage for promo.
Yeah, wonderful footage for the promo. Yeah, but other than that, it's a lot of it's just very practical shots.
Well, what I mean by environmental is the entirety of the library.
Yes,
it's expansive.
Yeah, the library itself is obviously a visual effect. I mean, I guess that's where a lot of the money went to for doing.
I would
visual
imagine
effects.
so, just because I at least didn't notice any like noticeable repeats when they did like big expansive shots of the whole library.
Yeah.
Like the only time that we really saw a repeat that you can say, yes, that's a repeat, is the camera is panning by and going down rows and rows of books, and it's the same row of books until you get to the Doctor and the other. I think there's 5 of them at that point.
Yeah, there were 5 people alive until the Doctor asks, why are there 6?
Or no, 4 of them, because the Doctor makes 5.
Yeah, the Doctor makes 5. Then, because the little girl is freaking out in her bedroom, the computer's going into sleep mode, and that casts a red light over everything in the real world, too. Mm-hmm. And then Mr. Lux reveals that the antivirus, or the virus protection software for the library is called a Dr. Moon.
Dr. Moon.
And then I think I heard you go, oh...
It wasn't that makes sense. It was me going,
Yeah, the Dr. Moon is...
Dr. Moon!
We are going to steal the Dr. Moon!
Do you know what else is a Dr. Moon? For those of you listening at home, Zach and I are giving each other looks, expecting the other to say what the other Dr. Moon is.
I'm most expecting it because I don't know the answer to the question.
David Tennant's butt.
Oh. Should have figured that out, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
I just remembered there was a bit I was going to do one day where I was going to tell you to go outside and look at the moon. I don't know if you've seen the moon. It's beautiful. And then I was going to wait until you, because you had gone into the back. So I was going to wait outside for you with my pants down and say, look at the moon. But you took a little bit too long and I got embarrassed. So that's a bit that never happened. But I still think about it.
And so as Donna is wrestling with the realization that her world is not real, the Doctor and her friends are currently being chased by the Vashta Nerada, including
Hey, who turned out the lights?
including Anita, who gets a second shadow. And the Doctor's bright idea to try and hide from the Vashta Nerada is just to make her visor real dark so that they might think they're already in there.
The lights are out, so everybody's home. I didn't quite understand the logic of that.
But basically, the logic is that if they see it's already dark, they would assume that they are already in there. It's a bit thin. Really, it's just to hide the moment Anita actually dies but you know, I sort of understand it where the Doctor's like, look, all we can do is run away from them. I'm gonna throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks.
Fair.
There's a part of it. It's like, you know, I appreciate a man of science.
I am a little bummed out that she was like, hey, earlier River said something to you that made you change your tune on her. I
could use a word like that, a word to let people trust me.
I could use a word like that, you know.
Your secrets are safe with me.
Yeah.
And instead of the Doctor telling her, he goes, safe. Oh, the word
Saved.
safe. You wouldn't say saved, you would say safe. If you saved them, that means you saved them to a hard drive.
I'm like, oh man, Anita was just looking for you to like give her some encouragement moments before she dies.
She also wanted to know his name.
Yeah.
I think she called you Ted. Was it Ted?
Tony?
Michael?
Dr. Tony?
Rumpelstiltskin?
Dr. Zach?
Eugene?
Eugene Fitzherbert.
Yeah, they realized that the 4,000 minds of the humans that were on...
They were saved! They weren't saved!
Yeah, the library had nowhere safe to put them, so they stuck them in the hard drive. But apparently it didn't bother retaining what clothes they were wearing. It just retained...
All but Donna.
All but Donna.
Donna, they remembered her clothes, but everybody else was getting ready to be stagehands.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, all the people have come back and they're all dressed in, like, black sweaters.
Did you know, fun fact, when I was still in school, and I kind of do it now, but to a lesser extent, but any time that I would go and see a show at my college, I would instinctively wear all black just in case they needed somebody.
It's pretty good. I like that.
It happened once where I had gone to a show, and afterwards they were like, hey, some of our costumers had to go home. Can you please just help gather things? Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, absolutely, I can help. It only happened the once, but ever since I've been like, oh man, gotta make sure I'm prepared just in case.
Mm-hmm. So as the doctor and his friends are being chased around,
going back in time again.
Yeah. The doctor realizes that the Vashta-Nerada, the Vashta-Nerada start talking through Proper Dave's voice using the little...
Well, it's something that he is, like, actively conversing to the Vashta-Nerada and saying, like, you keep on repeating, like, the last thoughts of a dead man. Like
that's a neural link. Just point and think.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that somehow this swarm of bugs, these swarm of tiny little bugs, are all just, like, collectively thinking the same thought together.
They all just go,
It's a real, like, you remember how at the end of the last series, they just said everyone in the world simultaneously think the word doctor. It's that, but they're all bugs in a suit just thinking, we did not come here.
Yeah.
Like, so there's some bug in there that's, like, directing traffic for everyone to think the same thought. And the doctor realizes that, you know, the Vashta-Nerada hatch in spores and trees. What are books made out of, Cassie?
Books are primarily made of paper and paper pulp, put together in big publishing factories. The pulp comes from wood, the wood comes from trees, and the trees come from forests. Therefore, the Vashta-Nerada
have been pulped and printed and bound. Makes me, I mean, I wonder if they had, like, opened one of those books, they would have found out real quick. Like, if there was just a bunch of holes inside in the pages, like, why does this book look like cheese? It's just full of, like, little eggs that all squirt. It
has the same idea as, like, the Vashta-Nerada are bed bugs.
Yeah.
They're just shadow bed bugs.
Just shadow bed bugs.
Yeah.
They're everywhere but your bed.
Oof. I mean, there's lots of shadows in my bed.
Especially at night.
Under the sheets, under the mattress. There's lots of shadows. Scary. That's the monster under your bed, Zach.
And as they're talking, they get other Dave. Both that we're down 2 Daves.
Oh no. Doctor between Daves.
Dave does dying. But then the doctor's way of getting out of it is just to open a trap door in the floor.
Is to make a hole in the floor. It's not a door. He just shoots a square hole in the floor and then is seen crawling on some pipes.
Yeah.
Dangling hundreds of feet in the air.
My favorite part about that is that the two Dave skeletons look down in the hole like they can see, even though they're two swarms of insects. It's like, why did he go down there?
Unusual.
The doctor and the remaining living people all go to see Cal and discover that...
the living people, so we're down River.
Yeah, we're down to River,
technically Anita, and Mr. Lux.
Yeah, and the doctor himself. So we're down to those 4 people. And so the doctor starts, like, trying to figure out what's going on, how to save the 4,000 minds, and Mr. Lux introduces them to his aunt.
I guess, because it's his grandfather's last daughter.
Yeah, so that would make him
great aunt then.
No, great aunt would be her great grandfather's daughter. Grandfather's daughter would be your parent's sister.
Grandaunt. No.
So your grandparents.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Family trees are hard.
Yeah. No worries. We got there. So yes, Mr. Lux introduces them to his aunt.
Child.
Yeah. Cal is the main
It's like
commander
Christine
for the
Abigail Lux or something like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So she is the main command node for the computer of the library because
she got very sick when she was young.
Yeah, and so they stored her living brain in the library with all the books she could ever want.
Which, like, I kind of like that.
I mean, it's really cute. There's a logic stretch of, like, why would you make her the main command node and not just, like, a fun little side thing, but also, like, that's not the point of the story.
If there's also the logic, too, of, like, you were creating this world, like, this space for her.
Yeah. And one thing I really like is that because the library holds all of human history, like, she can live in any era she wants to. Like, example, 2008. That's why her apartment is dressed up like it's 2008. Why is that? That's why there's still a CD player in her room.
In the living room, we don't see much of the house otherwise.
That's why she still has what was that toy?
I'm still hung up on...
The Roboraptor.
I want to say it's Robo Sapien. I know you said that's the monkey, and I believe you're correct, but I don't know. Hold on. Because I had one of those. It was boring as hell.
It was Roboraptor. Or Roboreptile.
Roboreptile. There it is.
Yeah, Roboreptile. And so, as they realize that Cal has effectively become the Matrix, storing 4,000 brains in it, the Doctor has a line in it that I really enjoy. He's going like, 4,000 minds chatting away inside her head. It must be like being, well, me. Well,
in the musical version of this episode, that's when he would start singing about what it's like to be him.
That would be the reprise of an earlier number.
Yeah. That would be the reprise of his I Want song.
Which I will also say David Tennant delivered that line much better than I did there. He makes it sound way more convincing. But and it's also like that's a good way of understanding how the Doctor sees himself is just like a bunch of
like a computer.
Yeah, like a computer, a bunch of other thoughts screaming at his brain. And so as Cal is having like this panic attack, this meltdown, unable to manage having so much going on inside of her head, the Doctor's like, "Oh, I know what to do. I'll just give her space in my brain. I'll hook myself up to it." And so the Doctor starts coming up with this idea and starts pulling at wires and doing science,
He's doing science. Look at him go! He's doing science.
River is telling him absolutely not, because somehow she just knows that this will not let him, he cannot regenerate from this, he will just die. And one of my favorites is like, the Doctor goes, "And just while I'm talking here, shut up."
Sometimes I hate you. That's what she said.
I hate you sometimes.
Which, like, hey, that's a mark of real love. Is if I can love you, but also hate you so much.
And then the Doctor, as he's messing with it, Anita starts asking questions about like, "Oh, so you think the Vashta-Nerada are just going to let them go? You're going to try and make a deal with them?" And the Doctor reveals that he already knows Anita is dead. And so the Vashta are like, "This is our forest. They are our meat." And they start like lurching towards the Doctor. And the Doctor just goes, "You're in the biggest library in the universe. Look me up."
They take a second and then they go, "You have one day."
Go, "You know what? Good line."
Because there is a part that's like, I guess that makes sense if they're a hive mind. There are Vashta-Nerada everywhere.
I like to picture that just like in several sections across the library, there's just like a little shadow hovering over an open book, and so like collectively like 200,000 of them went, "Oh fuck! Back away! Back away!" Either that or they were just like, kind of a badass monologue. You got a day. You earned yourself a day, champ. Make use of it. I mean, can you imagine, though, being, like, so important you can tell someone to look you up?
Yes. That's one of my goals in life.
And so the Vashta-Nerada choose to leave them alone for the day. And
one day.
Yeah. And then River's song comes in and just punches the doctor in the head.
She socks him square in the snoot.
Yeah, just knocks him out.
Like he's a bad dog.
Knocks him out and then handcuffs him to a pole. It's like, why do you have and I think you already mentioned it, but it still makes me laugh. Why do you have handcuffs?
Spoilers.
What a you line. What a you moment.
Yeah. Oh, if only I had a reason for handcuffs. So I could practice my magic.
The doctor points out that, he can do this. She doesn't have to do it. Time can be rewritten, and she is adamant, like furious at the mere prospect that he would dare erase a line of whatever she knows they have together. Which, I feel like Rose would probably be very similar. Rose would be like, you are not allowed at all to erase the time we had together. And I feel like Donna's probably the same way. Mm-hmm. Like, if anything happens where the doctor was like, I gotta go back and undo all of our stuff together, Donna would, like, break down. Because she kind of sucked before the doctor met her.
Because she was being played.
Yeah. I mean, even she was kind of nasty. Like, I said that she was a bitch, but she was just kind of nasty.
Yeah. She just needed a little visit from Deus Ex Doctorna.
And River even points out this means that the doctor, the entire time that he knows River, has known how River is going to die. Mm-hmm. Which, can you imagine that?
No.
You meet someone and you're like, oh, you're gonna, like, I know exactly how you're gonna die, and I cannot tell you.
Well, likewise, River knows exactly how they're going to meet.
Yeah, and does not tell him.
Spoilers.
Yeah, doesn't let him know anything. The only thing she lets him know is that she knows things.
That she knows his name.
Yeah,
and that is
she knows his name, and the doctor points out there's only one time he would ever tell someone his name. There's only one time ever that he could. Do you want to take a Cassie Profassi as to what that moment might be?
No, because my Profassi's dirty.
Do you think it's God? Do you think his name is...
I don't think that I would want to be called doctor if I'm in the middle of lovemaking, all right?
I don't know if you were...
If I'm going to be fucked, you need to use my name, damn it.
I feel like if you really worked for that doctorate, like it's right after you graduate.
No. No. I come up with a nickname for myself, and I'm really trying to get everybody to start calling me that nickname, and I insist that you use it when we're fooling around. No. That's stupid.
Well, we will eventually...
Or it's because she's trying to, like, she has to find him. Or, like, he's saying that so that way you can find him.
I mean, I will say, eventually we do see the moment the doctor tells her his name.
And they're not in the middle of...
And you'll find out.
Well, there was something else that I brought up.
I mean, I would say it is a family show, so they probably wouldn't be actively in the middle of
Not in this
coitus.
version, no. No. But I just wanted to, before you bulldoze over and wrap everything up, I just want to talk about the light in this.
Okay, go for it.
Because the lighting in between the two episodes is used very strategically, in addition to the soundtrack, to build that sense of suspense without, like you said, without any jump scares. I mean, there's a handful with just the revelation of the skulls and the helmets.
Yeah.
But, we're not using...
I would even say that I think those times with the skulls, like the two times I can think of with the skulls and the helmets, they're almost anti-jump scares. Like someone else points it out before the skull rolls in. There's the first time in this episode was when Other Dave dies, and he goes, "We should go, Doctor. We should go, Doc." He repeats it 4 times, and it's not even just repeating it. It's a repetition of the exact same recording, so it's the exact same way it sounds. So so it's not a jump scare. You already know he's dead before you look at him.
You know that just from context from Proper Dave.
Yeah, and then the second one is when Anita dies, and the doctor straight up says she's been eaten.
Yeah. And
then the face rolls in. So like I said, they're almost anti-jump scares, which is really interesting considering that, the last thing Stephen Moffat wrote for Doctor Who was a creature that is 100% jump scares.
Fuck those guys, man. I don't trust no statues. Can't go to the park anymore.
Gotta be careful where you ride your bike.
There was a house I rode by that had like 4 statues in the front yard. I had to turn back. It's like, I can't. I need to somehow ride my bike backwards. I didn't know it was possible, yet here I am.
Can you imagine if there was a weeping angel that was a cat statue? You would be so, like, torn. Like, I want to pet you, little stone cat, but if I get near you, you'll send me back in time.
I want to touch you. I want to bring you home with me.
Oh, come here, little pooty. Aw, man, I'm in the 1920s.
Oh, man.
Great Depression.
According to, again, according to all the magazines, I'm obese. Although I am built for surviving long winters and bearing many children, so I have the body of a medieval times peasant.
So you were talking about the lighting?
Yeah, just that there was a lot of moments where, you know, the lighting was never nice and soft and hazy and
never comfortable.
Warm blues or high contrasty, like blue and teal they love to use in this, I've noticed, or like green and pinky, sort of purple. Mm-hmm. When the designer's trying to get a point across that things are not okay, red, because red is usually emergency, but in this case it was the light is no light. We still need to see, but we need to emulate the fact that things are not right. So we will use this unsettling, off-kilter red light, which is also a mechanism that they do in Zach Baggins's Haunted Museum. There is no natural light anywhere in the museum. It's only red light. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is their justification for it is to preserve a lot of the artifacts, but also when you are surrounded by nothing but red light, your own psyche starts doing some freaky shit to you where you feel like the room is spinning because your eyes can't focus on anything. It's not used to seeing things like that. In this particular case, it's being used to communicate the fact that things are bad. We are in danger. Mm-hmm. The light is nowhere to be seen. It is not our friend.
Well, because
even in the very beginning, when they're looking for Evangelista, they walk into a room that has like 3 or 4 spots, but no, like there is an ambient light. The light is coming from those 4 spots. So there is shadow everywhere.
Yeah, they're getting a harsh window light.
Yeah.
Which there's a part of it where it makes sense when your villain is, the shadows.
Yeah.
That the thing that you...
And it's not a shadow like Dr. Facilier in Princess and the Frog, where the shadow is moving around and can, travel on walls and on the ground. It's shadow that is attached to something or somebody in most cases.
The swarm will latch on to something as a way of keeping it fresh, he says.
Yeah.
So when the doctor says things like don't touch shadows, don't stick your finger in a shadow, don't cross shadows, but then you look at the room and it's like there's no artificial lighting in it. And some of the few rooms we see that have artificial lighting, the Vashta Nerada turn them off.
Yeah, we have a couple of hanging lights every so often. But
a nice Pizza Hut Tiffany lamp.
Yeah. The Tower of Terror lamp or sconces that stick out of the walls. But beyond that, the only other time that we see some kind of colored light is there is a yellow sort of colored light that comes in after the sun has set. If I remember correctly, that yellow light is happening when the doctor is having his revelation about saved. Mm-hmm. So it is it's this yellow light that is almost not hopeful, but it's the
a light bulb went off.
Yeah, there is a quality, or there's something about it that's okay, cool. We're not in red light territory. Things are about to get done territory.
Yeah. I I mean, I wasn't going to wrap it up yet because we still have a really an ending to this episode that we've got to get through, and I think it's one of the part of the episode that really brings it home for me. Where after the Doctor has saved everyone, the 4,022 people are being teleported out of the library. The Doctor and Donna leave River's diary in the library, and Donna wants to know why River doesn't know who Donna is. Why, like, what happened to Donna that makes River not immediately recognize her if she's seen the Doctor in the future? Because I don't feel like this is too much of a spoiler. This is Donna's only season of the show. So she doesn't go on next season. So we'll have to find out what happens with her later on ourselves. But
Rivers did know her name.
Yeah, so that's the thing is the Doctor would tell stories about his companions, I'm sure. As Martha could very well tell you, he never shut the fuck up about Rose.
Fair.
And so the Doctor sets the diary down and then puts the gifted sonic screwdriver on top of it, and they walk away to leave the library. And then we start getting a little monologue from River about how everybody knows that everybody dies, but she hopes that the Doctor never once accepts that, because he sprints back down the stairs and is like, why would I give her a screwdriver? I had all these years to think about it. Why would I do it? I enjoy this moment of him like almost interrogating his future self, where it's like, what did you do? You did something smart. I know you did something smart because you're me, and I would do something smart in this case. And he pops open a little panel on the screwdriver to reveal that the little communicator the thing that stores that bit of brainwave on all their collar pieces, he's stuck inside the sonic screwdriver holding on to River's consciousness. And he's like, oh, I'm very good. And I really enjoy it's. You've only really seen like a multi-Doctor short. You've not really seen a multi-Doctor episode, but it's really fun to see this like little hint at the Doctor interacting with himself.
Well, I even commented, this is the fastest I've ever seen the Doctor move.
Yeah, but it's one of those where it's like it really he gets to feel like a winner. Like it's because this is the second time Stephen Moffat has got to let someone say that everybody lives. The Doctor gets that little bit of brainwave into the computer, and Cal boots up riversong.exe. And she gets to live inside the Cal Matrix in this library until the sun burns out, basically. And so,
but she's not alone.
Yeah, she's got 2 Daves, an unpicassoed Miss Evangeline, and Anita.
Evangelista.
Yes, Miss Evangelista. Excuse me. An unpicassoed Miss Evangelista. I wonder if she's still smart.
Well, because she existed in the Matrix beforehand.
Yeah, she had said that because she was downloaded as an imperfect copy, her string of numbers is all messed up, so her face is wrong and her IQ was shifted a decimal point. Which she's lucky it went one way and not the other. She could have been a drooling husk on the floor. But her face is fixed at the end, so maybe she's back to being a little dummy. Doesn't matter either way. River Song is saved. Everybody lives, sort of. I mean, 5 of you are dead, but you're alive inside the Matrix.
You're alive inside the Matrix with Dr. Moon and a little girl.
And to get there, the Doctor has to jump down a big hole.
Yeah, good promo shot.
It's so weird. Like looking at that one shot versus the entire rest of the episode, it feels really out of place.
Yeah,
but it's also just like, we're having a victory lap. It's fine. We're doing a win. Yeah. And so River Song is taking care of Cal, and also I guess the 2 fake kids that Donna had.
I mean, there is a part of me that's like, I'm sure that's more or less just to appease the general masses, so that way they didn't have to get attached to these 2 little children and then have them die.
Yeah, blink out of existence forever. I do think it would have been really, like, if you were talking about how dumb it was at the end of the episode to have the one guy stutter his way through Donna.
God damn.
There's a part of me that's like, if you really wanted to get really dumb, she could have like put Cal to bed, and it zooms out and there's just 18 of the copied kids like there were at the playground, and they're all tucked into beds in a row. Because they could have done that. They justified there are that many kids.
She has an Annie room. There's so many beds.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's a hard knock life for them. They're just duplicates. Oh, actually, how do you feel now having seen your favorite episode story?
It's hard to say because part of why I like it is knowing what comes from it and seeing it with hindsight. I mean, I loved it when it came out. I think it was my favorite Tennant story even when I first saw it, because there's so much going on in it. But there's a part of me that's more curious to see what happens if we revisit it. Because when we get through what is, at least in my opinion, the end of River's story, which is, what I mean, when the last time Alex Kingston shows up so far, it's a really nice, like, this feels like a complete piece at that point.
Okay.
And so
how many Rivers stories are there?
A lot.
Okay.
Let me look it up.
Because overall, I really liked her character. I think she's a good match for the Doctor. And match not in the, like, romantic sense, but just in a, like, in the same way that Donna is a good match for the Doctor.
Including this one, there are 11 stories where she shows up.
Oh, damn, okay.
And some of those are two-parters, so that's why I say 11 stories. Yeah, she does quite a bit.
Like, between the Doctor, Donna, and Rivers, I feel like there is a...
Rivers Cuomo?
I feel like there is a, like, almost decent D&D party. Where you have your, what would the Doctor be? Like a warlock?
I feel like the Doctor would be a wizard.
A wizard?
He's got a wand.
Well, yeah, but also I guess he doesn't converse with anybody other than himself. I don't think he can be...
If anything, his companions are warlocks, and he's their patron.
Fair. So, yeah, a wizard. And, Rivers would be a I've only just met her. I don't know.
Yeah,
Donna's a bard.
I guess we'll see more as Donna's a barbarian, I think.
A barbarian.
Donna is like, if you make her mad, she will break you in half.
Well, yeah, but she also has proven to be kind of a jack of all trades.
That is true.
Super temp.
I'm glad that you liked it. That's for more than anything. I don't care if you also find it your favorite, but I do like that you liked it.
There wasn't anything in it that made me vehemently go, I hate it, other than it just being kind of silly. But we've all learned that when things are kind of silly, that's when I like them.
Yeah.
And so does it make me angry that Lee's speech impediment is the thing that keeps him from, like, calling out to Donna because he is about to be teleported away to God knows where? Yes, I think that's so stupid. I kind of love that as a button to that bunch, not punchline, but the button to that story between him and Donna having spent all this time together in the, like, dreamscape.
Yeah, it is funny because, it feels like 7 years to them, according to what Donna says, but it also feels like it's been no time at all. So there's a part of it's like, I wonder how they would have gotten along if they had to spend actual real time together.
Well, yeah, but he clearly remembered her. Yeah. And clearly during that time of being together, Donna talked enough and wouldn't shut the fuck up that Lee learned how to speak.
Yeah, so to me, the bigger thing is that I'm glad that you really liked it.
I liked it enough.
I'm really curious what happens when we get to my new favorite episode, which doesn't happen for several seasons. This is still number 2, and they're both written by Stephen Moffat. So it's hard to articulate more than that without spoiling anything. But I'm curious about when we do eventually finish River's story. We might revisit this episode, and I want to see how you react to it.
Okay.
But in the immediate, I'm just glad you liked it, especially because I know that when I tell you I think you're gonna like something, you are immediately predisposed to dislike something.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that I hate something, you are predisposed to like defend it.
I just like opposites.
Yeah. I'm not discrediting you. I just know that that was something I was worried about, was that me building it up as one of my favorites is going to make you be like, all right, we'll see. Show me what you got, chump.
I'm bummed out that I wasn't as emotional as you, but
Yeah, but I also don't expect you to be.
No, ever. You cried in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I did do that.
I could tell because as I was leaning up against your body for warmth, I could just feel it shudder.
I'm trying to remember when that was.
I don't remember when it was. I just know it happened.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was. I think it's Wolverine at the campfire, like reminiscing about how much he fucked up.
Yeah, I couldn't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I just know that you did, and I went, "Wow."
Yeah, it wasn't.
This fool's really crying.
I cry at most movies, man, especially good movies. And so the doctor finally gets to go off with the TARDIS, and he walks up to the TARDIS, and just like River said, the doctor opens the TARDIS with a click of his fingers, and it's a really nice bit that I enjoy because the doctor says no one can open a TARDIS with a snap of their fingers, and River goes, "My doctor can." So this is the first little symbol that he is becoming her doctor, much like we are finding out who is your doctor. And we'll keep finding out more about that on future episodes of Who Is My Doctor?
Who is my doctor?
Who is indeed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gents and germs.
Was that segue good? Did I do a good segue there at the end? I did it. We made it. We finished the longest episode of this podcast yet. A couple days late, but hey, there was still something on Tuesday. God, I hope I don't make it any more this long. It took me way too dang long to edit this. But you know what? We had a good time. And if you had a good time, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening right now. Give us a like or 5 stars or a nice review to help us get discovered by the algorithm. And if you want to come tell me that this episode was too dang long, you could tell us on social media. Or on Twitter, Blue Sky Threads, and Instagram at WimDpod. That's WIMDPOD. Next week, we're all boarding the bus on a planet called Midnight. So be sure to get your ticket for next Tuesday, because your Tuesdays are now Who's Days.